Hey, it's Mike. We're back on the Rambler again today. Going to be moving ahead and seeing how our exhaust headers fit in here. Now, these are a set that I've had laying around for a long time, supposedly made for this V-8 application in an American. They're pretty thoughtfully designed. We'll take a closer look at that now. So this here is a set of Doug's headers, and we've got our left side over there at the far end, and then over here you see this unique looking configuration for the passenger side. So the passenger side of this car is significantly tighter, and you see how this tube has a big loop in it, and a sort of a little coupler area here. Now, what makes them pretty thoughtful, I think, is they've pre-located a cut point for us so that we can cut our flange, take this whole tube off, and then install after the fact. We'll see how that works in practice. I'm going to start with the left side because that's got more room, should be a little easier to get access to. Of course, I don't have any of the accessories installed yet. I don't have a starter installed. I don't have steering gear. I don't have clutch linkage. I don't have steering shaft coming through there. So should be easier to get everything or get the exhaust headers installed. I'm going to try to come up through the bottom at first, see how that works. Once those headers are installed, we'll start fitting these other parts, especially the steering gear, which mounts to those 3 bolts. There, we got our steering shaft that goes up through the big hole, and then of course clutch linkage and the bell crank for that go in between the cross member and the engine. So I've got some parts for that clutch linkage on the way. It might be several weeks before those are in, but it'll be interesting to see how all of that gets installed with the headers in, or if maybe I have to take the headers back out, install that stuff, and then try to wiggle the headers back up into place after all of those other things are installed. May also have a little bit of an issue with these strut bars where the bracketry comes inside the frame rail. You can see right there, we've got the back end of it, and over on this side as well. And I think that the header, why it has such a big in it, is we're going to have to go around that strut bar. So we'll get set up and see if we can get this driver side in, and then move on to the passenger side. These bolts they supplied with those headers look like they're pretty nice small head, compact. I'm just going to thread them into the block or the head here, make sure we get the right thread. Where am I hitting already? Maybe I need some more height here. driver's side is gonna be cake. As I say that, I'll probably fight with it for the next 4 hours. Where are we at? Show me the hole. Show me the hole. Okay. Problem number one. My head bolts are too tall. So, back out. Back out we go, I guess. That flange is super thick. All right, got the header up on the sawhorse here and just taking a look at the flange. Very thick flange, nice. And they did try to relieve here for the heads of the bolts. But it's just not quite enough. So I don't want to be grinding into this area here. That's a pretty critical spot that needs to seal and stay flat. So I think when I do my relief, I'll just kind of bevel this back from about midway and get rid of some of this corner. I don't want to be grinding all the way into the weld though. I want to keep a little bit of strength there. And so keep it about midway. We'll give it a nice little bevel and see how it goes. We got 3 spots. There's one in the middle and one back on this edge too. Okay, we're ready to go. Got myself a little carbide burr on the rotary. Go nice and slow. All right, I had a little back and forth in and out of the car, doing more relief things, but what we've got is 4 out of 6 bolts going in real nice, and 2 here and here that need a little bit of filing. They're not quite centered on the hole, so that's no big deal. Real happy with this. I'm gonna mark these holes so I don't forget them. All right, I got switched over to the passenger side. I don't know if it's worth trying to install this side with that that last tube still in place. I have a feeling that they know more than I know about installing their header, and that it might be a good idea to just cut that tube off before I even get started here, because this area, get in right on in there. All right, so where the starter, you can see the mounting location back here, and our strut rod bracket, there's not a lot of space, which means that whole entire header's got to come up through this hole. And I imagine it's probably impossible if the starter is installed, especially if it's a stock starter, which is ginormous. So I think first things first, I'll get that tube cut off, and we'll see if we can slide it up in here. Easy peasy. All right, we'll put that off to the side. See how the rest of this goes in there. Okay. Well, we got the same bolt head clearance issue we had on the other side. So that's no big deal. Okay, we got a little bit of work done here. Wasn't too bad. Pretty much the same scenario as the other side, hitting the head bolts. Got those all ground out. Found a couple of holes here in the flange. Again, just like the other side, that need to be filed out a little bit. There's one up front here, and it just does not have enough clearance for the bolt to go through the hole. So I'm gonna have to relief that to the outside so that we can get a better angle for that bolt to go through. And in the center here, we need to file that hole closer to the port just a little bit. It's just not lined up very well. So you can see we got not a whole lot of room there. What's been pretty typical for me is that the header has to be loose and pulled out of the way to get the starter installed. And I imagine that's going to be the case here as well. I will be running a mini starter, so I'm not going to be running that huge, gargantuan factory starter at all. So a mini starter will help a lot. But we're definitely going to have the header hanging loose. Now this second tube here installed real nice. You can see how that goes down underneath the strut rod. So it doesn't go between anything, and actually can be installed from outside the car if the fender's off. Don't have to get underneath it all to do it. Come back under. Here we'll see exactly where that comes through underneath the strut rod. Plugs right in there, fit really nice. I got to give a lot of credit to Doug's. This system fit really well. I mean, looks like we're nicely tucked up there, not hanging down at all to where it would be an issue. So I'm pretty pleased here. That's about as easy a set of headers as I've installed in ever. Of course, I don't have any of the accessories cluttering up the space. Okay, I got the headers sorted out, fitting nicely. Passenger side went in real nice, real happy with the fit. Again, Doug's made a pretty nice set here. Just got a couple of holes to remount, nothing too big, but they're in here. Probably try to get a gasket in there at some point so we can get it snugged up and before we do any further exhaust work. Just take a quick peek down here so we can see what we had to do. See how we had the clearance for the head of the bolt. So there was 3 spots on each side, front, middle, and rear, where the head bolts were touching the flange, because that flange is super thick, super nice, heavy duty. So we just ground down a little bit of that flange, just tapered it back so we can clear the heads of the bolts. So a lot of these little tiny modifications, just something you got to deal with. Going to be moving on here, getting the steering linkage put together. You see I got the steering gear in here now, just loosely, it's not tightened up. Getting all the steering column things sorted out. Won't be able to do the clutch linkage yet until those parts are in. Hoping it won't take too long, but for now, headers are fitting good, and I'm real happy about it.